collapse. Jamal, we apologize. Our show got crashed, so we have to redo it again. I'm so sorry. You know, I was not hoping something like that to happen. Like it happened anyway. So go ahead and send in your requests, brothers and sisters. Again, we apologize for the inconvenience. حاجة اللي حصل ده. I don't know why every other week. Last week it was okay, but this week it happened again. Send in the request. أنا كنت داير أضرب للزول طوالي collapse. So
Yes, brother Jongkor.
how are you, Nuri? I'm so sorry, man. I tried to call you and then it cut it off. But anyway, we are back.
Yes.
Go ahead and make your perspective, Nuri.
First of all, I like to thank you, and I like to thank your viewers. I usually go with any number, so don't even worry about
it's okay.
the crowd that have gone because of this technological problem.
Mm-hmm.
I want to comment on PDM. It's called PDM, right?
Yeah, People Democratic Movement.
Yeah. The one thing I just want to mention here, Jongkor, and then people would be able to see this. They will see this as they come along. All right. There are parties that are formed. They may sound like a national party, a unionist party, but they're actually advocating for separation. They're standing for separatism. The problem with that, they may not be able to explain, because when they start to call for a separation, there would be a huge backlash. All right. So but it has put them in dilemma, because when you want to be a national, represent a national party that would work in the interests of durable peace, the goal should be, how do you make sure you get people to be democratic people? All right. How do you mobilize people, all right, to join a democratic movement? When in fact that the unset ideology is actually a separation. And people are very smart. They would usually see this with the phrase that he used, with the language that he used, with the vocabulary that he used. So it doesn't take a long time for people to actually see that your party may be a democratic party by name, but by ideology, it is actually a separatist party. Now, people of South Sudan, they're not really ready to have a three independent state right now. They are ready to have a very meaningful, inclusive nationalism, a new South Sudanism. That's what they're looking for. So sometime a generation that is coming upward, like you and I, girls, women's, and men's who are learning about this or who have learned about this, they uh, really putting the burden of responsible communication on older generation that seem to stray away from the concept that many people here in the West, in diaspora, are looking for, and that is to have a permanent peace within the country. So now PDM, if you do research about it, our leader, all right, because he's a South Sudanese leader, he can be our leader tomorrow. But if you go and do research about PDM, you would actually find that the party was created in Central America, in Latin America, in Caribbean island, in order to advocate for the independence of these islands from the British colony. So it's very hard, and people can easily see this. So now, when Dr. Kim would be saying, well, it would be a good idea to actually have, 3 autonomous regions, what does that mean is basically saying there would be Afanal state, there would be Equatorial state, there would be Vargazal state, which is very hard, because a lot of people may not be ready for these public disintegration of the country. They may not be ready for that, and they would come back very hard on you to put you back, whether they love you or you might be having good ideas. They will put you back very seriously. All right. So now what does that mean? I thought maybe Dr. Hakim would be talking about national justice that is not being addressed. Now, Dr. Hakim comes from a very place that was destroyed during the Civil War. All right. Now, he is someone who should be advocating for justice for everybody so that these injustices would never happen again. But there's nothing would be wrong to call for a national justice because of his close, direct experience, given the location that he actually come from. There's nothing wrong with that. All right. He's also live in a socialist country. All right. So a lot of people these days, they need a socialist, democratic, secularized state, the Republic of South Sudan. All right, so he doesn't need to go to Caribbean that is fighting for the independence of this island from the British by creating this party. Now, I'm not saying that he would not he should have not created his party and named his party People Democratic Movement, but I was wondering why he did not call it South Sudan People Democratic movement. There is a South Sudan there, right? So now we learn. What do we learn?
It's not necessarily in order to have South Sudan in a party. Now in US you have you know, GOP, Republican Party.
Yeah,
It doesn't have to include
yeah,
America or
yes.
the Labour Party, whatever
That's
candidate there. Okay, go ahead.
That's true. That's true. And I agree with you, right? But ideology matter here when they emerge in the conversation. And I think there was unsaid ideology that emerged in the conversation.
That's right.
All right. And that ideology
I got you.
is something that people were ready or they have been ready to push it back. The other thing too that this interview has established is the division. All right, is the division a divisive tune that has emerged that if you speak Dinka, then you would be hanging out with Dinka in here. If you speak Kakwa, then you would be hanging out with Kakwa. These leaders, they do not need to encourage this policy of divisiveness because the vocabulary that they usually use, those vocabularies or those phraseologies, they seem to be encouraging division that is not needed right now in the Republic of South Sudan or here in diaspora. As a leader, there should be a fine line as to what kind of vocabularies that you would use. That's one. Another thing too here is the program you're running may be a social media program, but it is actually a BBC program in which people are being kept honest. They are being watched everywhere. So when you come, there are people who have read these stuff. There are people who have researched this stuff. So when you ask a question, that question is a very structural, political, cultural question that need to be answered because your concern is why is our country not together? What do you have in your mind to make sure we are fixing what is wrong with the Republic of South Sudan so that we can all go home? You're not asking people or bringing people to come and actually become divisionists or to encourage division of the people. You are looking for people who would be coming to actually infuse a union that is missing now. But what everybody should be looking for. Now, the interview has also caused disagreement. To whom do you agree with? Because the moment you start to agree, if I agree with you now, they will say, Brother Jongkor and Brother Nuri, they have unite against me. You see, they have unite against me. If I start to agree with Silman Dendera, they will say, okay, Nuri finally joined the IO now.
Yeah.
If you start to ask a question and say, why are you encouraging the division of the country by making these three autonomous regions to be autonomous and to be super powerful? They would say, Brother Jonker has joined J1 again. You see, and if you start to disagree with your friend, right, your close friend on social media, they will say, okay, now you don't like me again. So the discourse is really very confusing, and our leaders, they have to know.
Do you know what? It reminds me, they say that Dr. John Garang, when he gave a speech at the United States Congress, he said, we live in a world of confusion.
Absolutely.
We are so
Absolutely
confused. Yeah, sometimes, you know, yeah, we are seeking the fact. And when you say the fact, people don't take the facts from you. They say, oh, now you diverted. Now you have different. Actually, you put it right, you know. But you know what? I have no interest of joining J1. My interest is South Sudanese people. We need them to get justice, liberty, prosperity. That's what I'm doing here. If I yes, was really into position, looking for a position, I would have solicited since 2006. There is many ways you can solicit a position, whether you marry a daughter of general or a daughter of minister or whatever. And that's what they have been doing. You could do that if you are really someone who's sick looking for a position. But no, it's very important to have that dignity, you know.
I agree with you because, well, if you are going to Juba today and nobody would be harassed, there would be freedom of expression, there would be freedom of press. What is wrong with that? You can go to J1 anytime and work on whatever program you're working on, right? But there are certain things that the nation building is requiring, and some of those things is by holding is by bringing opposition leaders. These are very important people. These are really important people that the public is expecting that they would have ideas to fix the country. Now, I want to make an opinion here. There is a room.
Really quick,
there is
because
a
I have
room.
more people, they wanted to bring.
Okay, there is a room for opposition to make a very serious argument and say there is no final peace if we are not part of it. All right. So they can make that argument, and they can try to say, if you are going to form a transitional government, that transitional government must be a representation of every nationality in the country, of every ethnic group in the country, that there is no single tribe or single ethnic group that would be left out from this transitional national government again. Because when you do that, the resource for 3 years, they will go to few ethnic group or few tribal group or few individual, leaving out other people to be marginalized for almost 3 years. They can make that, and they can actually be very successful in making that, to have a proportional representation of a transitional government. And they can actually make a card for women to be represented in the transitional national government, and they can do it successfully. All right. So they can call for the representation of proportional military representation in the army at the highest level, so that the decision, people who would be making decision, they would not be seen as few individuals who are making decision for few people, but for the majority of people. These things, they can make them very successfully, so they do not need to fall short on the nationalistic vocabulary. It only take one step. You go to chapters, and you get a dictionary. I'm not saying they're not highly educated, but the vocabulary they may be using, they are encouraging division. So they may need to use nationalistic vocabulary or social justice vocabulary, or transitional vocabularies, or restorative, just reconciliatory vocabularies, in my judgment.
Thank you, Nuri, for your contribution. I gotta move on because I have more people requesting. Thank you so much. It was good to have you on the show. Let's go ahead and bring other people in here. Emmanuel Ajawin, and then I will bring Dr. Francis. But Dr. Francis, let me go for Emmanuel, and then I'll bring you. And I show you request as well, Lily. I'll bring you as well. But let me bring Emmanuel here, and then I'll bring you. Emmanuel Ajawin.
Good evening, Brother Jongkor.
How are you?
I'm not too bad. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Our discussion heated now.
Yeah. I could see. See.
So
first of all, yeah.
Go ahead.
No, thank you. Thank you for hosting me. And also, we'd like to congratulate our brother, Dr. Hakim Dario, the leader of the PDM, and also the Secretary for External Affairs for SAWA. I think Hakim spoke eloquently, and the man also spoke about the ideas that he has in terms of his party and the way forward. But before I comment on his discourse or in his presentation, let me just make some couple of remarks here.
Okay.
Nuri, who just spoke before me, he talked that he keep on saying they, and the opposition, I assume, they're encouraging division. So let us not be generalizing issues. Let us be precise. Dr. Hakim was coming and he presents the views of the three, why he thinks that South Sudan should revert back to the three regions. And Nuri said that this will not be accepted by the people because it will encourage disintegration, as he said it. But you have 28 states. I mean, if three regions could encourage disintegration, what are you going to be talking about 32 states? What will 32 states do? You know. So I think let us not be emotional. The man has presented, an argument, and he backed his argument. Whether we disagree with it or not, we should also be able to put forth an argument. And you ask him precisely that, you said as Jongkor, you think it's good to revert to 10 state, which I also think that 10 state is a best option, because the RCS was built 2015, the August agreement it was signed. It was based on 10 states. What Kir did is a violation of the 10 states. He went against the provisions of the South Sudan interim constitution, especially Article 86.5. Correct. Which state that the state boundaries cannot be changed, with only the exception by it is the Council of the States that decides it. It's not the president. We know President Kiir did not consult the Council of the States. He came out with the presidential order number 36, 2015, without consulting with anybody, which was completely a clear breach of the Constitution, which he took oath, to protect. Not only that, it was actually a direct violation of the agreement that he signed with React. So your argument was in its place that, look, in order for us, yes, we know this issue of the states and the issue of governance are very fundamental, so that South Sudan could have a stable democratic state. But what we need to do is to revert back to 10 states. Then we will draft a permanent constitution. Okay? With that permanent constitution, we ensure that all the political forces in the country, all the faith-based organizations, like the church leaders, the mosque, and so forth, and all the youth, women, should participate effectively in the drafting of the constitutional process. This constitution, in my opinion, if it's drafted and is finished, should not be brought back to the parliament, okay? Because the parliament that you have now, under the interim period, which is composed of 550 MPs, 400 of them are SPLM. You see, so if you bring back the constitution to the parliament, SPLM will want to do whatever they want to do, and they will pass it because they only require 2/3, and they have over 2/3. So what I will propose will be for the constitution to be put into a referendum. A public referendum in South Sudan. People should vote for the constitution, whether they accept it or not. And if they don't accept it, then we go to the drawing board and taking the observation and consultation with the people. It is only then that we could decide what we want. Do you want to retain 10 states as we inherited from the Sudan? Or should we take 32 states as proposed by President Kiir? Or should we go back to 3 regions? Or should we even go to a confederal system? Why not? Someone can say
that's the brilliant ideas. I love the idea that we can put things on a referendum, because putting things on a referendum, and then the public, the ordinary citizen, they will have a say on it, rather than
they will decide on it.
Political elites, deciding. Go ahead.
Because our slogan has been that the power to the people. Okay, we're saying the essence of a democratic country or a democratic notion. It is the government of the people, by the people, and to the people. Okay, now. Hakim has spoken well, and also I agree with him. The elites in South Sudan have been the one, taking over, deciding the fate of the majority without involving the majority. Now, if we were saying that we want to change the game, okay, we want to involve the people, then the only time you can really genuinely, Jongkor, to involve our people constructively is through a constitution. Constitution of a country is a covenant between the people and the government. Okay? It is the relationship. It is what defines the relationship between those who govern and those who are governed. Okay? Then, if that's the case, when you draft the constitution, as I said it before, you don't need Maulana Emmanuel, or Maulana Teresa, or Maulana John Luke to go into a locker or behind a room, draft the constitution and bring it to the parliament and pass it. No. We're saying the constitution should first of all be preceded by popular consultations among South Sudanese and all sectors of life. Okay. Once that is done, we put it to a referendum, and people, the whole country, vote for it. Okay. If it is accepted, that we South Sudanese, we have accepted the constitution as drafted, okay, then that becomes our constitution, that becomes the contract between those who are governed and those who are governing. So basically, by arguing that going back to 3 regions or going back to 10 states is disintegration of the country, I think that's a falsity. It's not true, because 32 states, we should be worried about 32 states, not about 10 states.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, Emmanuel. Actually, what I said in both 32, 28, okay? If you bring issue of 3 regions, what is the difference between you with someone who created 32 or 28? And actually, I agree with you 100%. We should put these, because this is a very, very important matter. We should put it in a referendum rather than someone say, oh, I propose, 3 regions, or I propose, 32 or 28. And people have no say on it, And the majority of South Sudanese, actually, this is very, very important. They have to determine whether this thing is good for them or it's not good for them. And also, I mentioned that, it reminds me the old days of the 80s, what happened before. And we don't want to remind ourselves on that dark, areas. We are different generation, and that's why we want to do our thing in a democratic way, so we can get out of this dark and move forward. So that's what I meant to you. Go ahead.
No, you're right, Jongkor. Not only that, your argument is right. Why? If you say that 32 state was brought by Kir without consultation with the people, it is true also about the 10 states we inherit from Khartoum. Yes. Okay, we inherit also 10 states that Bashir did. It is true also that the 3 regions we are talking about, it is Nimeri who divided South Sudan to 3 regions.
That's correct.
Okay, so South Sudan has never, by themselves organically, decided to say how many states we want. Okay, the only time, and for the first time in the history, that South Sudanese will decide what kind of form of government they want is through what we're talking now, through referendum. Let us tell them to decide what they want. Not the politician, not the elite, not Jongkor, not Emmanuel. It should be the people voting in a referendum. Now, this is on the issue of the 3 regions that he has proposed. Of course, that's his party of PDM, and we thank him for it. And people are intellectuals, and it is his democratic right to put his forth argument, and it's also our democratic right to say what we think is right for our country. The other issue he raised is the issue of justice. I think Nouri talked about justice, that Kim should have alluded to justice. Maybe it is because of the time frame that he did not get the chance, because I don't think he completed. But the issue of justice to us, Jongkor, is very important and is pertinent to us. Justice, I said, justice denied in law, we say, justice delayed is justice denied. When you delay justice, you have denied justice. Our people in South Sudan, they deserve justice, okay? From 2013 to now, many villages has been razed, especially in Upper Nile. Many people has been displaced in Equatoria, we speak. In Barghazal, the same thing, okay? Our country now, we have 2.4 million people that has been displaced out of the country as refugees. They have voted against the government with their feet, okay? You have people who are inside the country, but they're inside the United Nations camps, okay? Protected from their own government by the UN, which is very, 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 very shameful, Now, how do we bring justice? How do we bring this close to an end? The Abusanjo report, Abusanjo made a report, and his report, based on his report, he proposed the establishment of what we call the African Hybrid Court. Okay, the Hybrid Court has been initiated. It's supposed to have really been functional 1 year after the agreement was signed in 2015. So by 2016, it's supposed to have been operational. Okay, U.S. government have already given $5 million for the establishment. I see these days in Addis Ababa, I think they're advertising the post for those who want to work in that hybrid court. Okay, now this hybrid court, we must push for it. Okay, we must push for the establishment of the hybrid court, so those who have been accused of committing war crimes and crimes against humanity in South Sudan could be brought to book. They could be brought to justice. We are not confident in our own judiciary. Our own judiciary, Jongkor, is very compromised. The judiciary is not competent, and we have seen that many times. Okay, Chief Justice Chanre, who is there, we don't think he's neutral.
It doesn't have power.
Therefore,
You're right. It
He has
doesn't
no
have
power.
power. All the power consideration on the hand of the president. Basically, we have authoritarian regime in our country. And that's why, look, I'm sorry to disrupt you. Look what happened today at 10 a.m., you know, Pacific time. It was around 12 noon in New York time. Look what Donald Trump did last week. He actually suspended Jim Acosta, the reporter from CNN, the White House reporter. He suspended him because Jim Acosta keep asking tough questions about the corruption, Mueller investigation, so many things. Do you know what happened? He suspended it, and CNN went to the court. Because American, there is, you know, separation of power. The court is very independent. You know what they did this morning?
Yes.
You know, they gave him his press back, and the judge ordered White House. They ordered Trump. This guy is going to go to White House. He's going to ask him questions. He's going to do normal job. See? Yes. Why are we not learning? This is the way it's supposed to be. So Justin Rai, you know, I call him my father-in-law because he's related to my wife. He doesn't have power. You know, they don't have power. The power with Mr. President. That's what it is. So go ahead.
Yes. You do should is compromise. And let me also give you a case. I think I told you before. Our judges in South Sudan almost akin to what happened almost 2,000 years ago in Baghdad. They said that there was a rich man who had a horse, a red horse, and you had a poor man who had a cow. Then the poor man cow gave birth to a nice, beautiful calf. And then the rich man saw the calf and he was very impressed and he wanted to take the calf. So when the rich man went out of his house, when the poor man went out of his house, the rich man went and stole the calf and took it to his house. So when the rich man came back from the day, he came back. ما لقى غنم ما لقى البقراية بتاعه. قال يا جماعة شال البقرة بتاعي. قال له والله تعرف الإجل. قال له تعرف عمك الغنيان ده شال البقراية الإجل. قال له yeah. Okay, so he went to the man. قال له why did you take my calf? قال له it's not your calf. قال له what do you mean it's not my calf? قال له no ده جنا بتاع حسان بتاعي حسان تاعي ولد. قال له يا راجل حسان كيف يعني؟ قال له ده جنا حسان بتاعي. So قال له نمشي محكمة. For the poor man was so confident. بينه man ما حصل كده. He's confident he'll win the case. فمشوا محكمة. Little did he know that the judge was bribed by the rich man. So the judge قال له يا جماعة كده قولوا قصة بتاعكم. The rich man talked. The poor man talked. And then the judge said, you know what? I'm ruling. My ruling is final. You know, the horse, the calf, the cow calf, لونه احمر زي الإجل لونه احمر زي لون الحصان بتاع الغنيان ده ويونه ذاته قريب ليون الحصان. So in my judgment ده جنا حصان اصلا ده ما بتاع يا راجل بقر ما لا جنا بقر. So you could imagine that a calf could become a horse kid, you know. So this is the justice you have in South Sudan. It is not a justice that is based on transparency. It is not based on separation of powers. It is not based on accountability. We are saying, let's have a third person. Because if you fight with me, Jongkor, in the house, you fight with your wife, you know, you cannot say, well, and I fought my wife, I will be the judge and the jury. No, you need a third party to settle the dispute between you. So we believe that a closed chapter will be brought to an end when the hybrid court is being formed. The government of South Sudan up to today, they're not cooperating with the hybrid court. Michael Mukwege is on record saying that we need peace first. We don't need justice. But this is a mistake. Justice and peace go hand in hand. You know, Rwanda closed the chapter of genocide. How? Rwanda formed what they call the Shasha courts, you know, where those who are accused of committing genocide in Rwanda, they come, okay, testify before the families, okay, and also to apologize before the families, okay. Then their sentence is commuted. From later death sentence, they are given life sentences, okay. Some of them are given 10 years according to the gravity of the crimes. They go to the court. And that's why Rwanda was able to heal itself, you know. South Sudan, we need healing, you know. If we don't close this chapter properly, war will come in South Sudan. And we know vengeance is always there. The last thing I wanted to talk about, Hakim also talked about corruption, and we are in total agreement with him that our country has been hijacked by political hyenas. You know, political hyenas, they have come in a sheep clothing telling us they were revolutionaries, we liberated you. And then people trusted them, voted for them. And when South Sudan became independent, they turned against us and they looted the country. SPLM, a party that we used all to be proud of, it is a party now where the slogan is that when SPLM unite, they loot. Okay? And when they divide, they kill us. You know? It is very unfortunate. So in order for the country to progress, in my opinion, I have been saying this, we need a proper anti-corruption rules, bills in the country. Okay? Not only that, we need to change the structures of the Anti-Corruption Commission. The Anti-Corruption Commission now you have Jongkor is appointed by the president. Okay? The chair is appointed by the president and the deputy chair. Okay? They don't have prosecutory powers. They cannot arrest you. Okay? So what we are proposing in the opposition, and this is what also I think is the way forward, is to form what I call a triangle. Okay? You have the Anti-Corruption Commission should be independent, appointed by the parliament. Okay? Members vetted by the parliament. Okay? Then you give them, you form a special police task force with anti-corruption. Ma police daddy. Okay? Police task force with anti-corruption. Okay? And you also form prosecutors with anti-corruption. So anti-corruption becomes an entity by itself. منظومه براءه become entity ما تابع لعيزه ولا وزارة داخلية ولا رئاسة جمهورية. Okay? That way they become free of investigating anybody. So if Jongkor tomorrow you're president, okay, there's no way you can tamper with anti-corruption. If they want to bring a case against you, there's no way you're going to know they are brought case against you until they notify you. And there's no way you can stop them because they're independent from you. Okay? This is what we need in the Anti-Corruption Commission. Okay? The Anti-Corruption Commission now you have is completely obsolete. The only thing that anti-corruption, I remember in 2005 and 6, Madam Pauline, Toriak Pauline, who was the head of the Anti-Corruption Commission that time, came to me. I was here in London. I was still practicing as a lawyer. She came and told me, Emmanuel, I want you to lead a team, okay, into who is the most corrupt person in the country, you know? So I said, there's no problem. I wrote the proposal of how I'm going to do it, and I called the report Cobra report. Okay? When she went in, Anna good look, she will talk with the president, and president, once he approve it, I will come. Then I will make an investigation. That was, imagine, 2005 at Jongkor. If I would have done that, at least, Anna kunta gafal the nas kutar for sigin. Okay? I would have put their names and they would have been in prisons. Okay? But it was sabotage. Later on, Galilala Emmanuel Hajede, I think it's not the time for it. We're still talking to the president, and she's still in Juba, and I'm talking publicly. If I'm saying wrong, let her come tomorrow and correct me. Okay. The only thing she said, Gala, let's change it. Okay, from investigating who is the most corrupt person, Namula is a questionnaire, and we say who is perceived to be corrupt. I would like it from investigating who is the most corrupt. They're making a questionnaire.
The law language is always direct. Why do you want to make it like, you know, something like that?
Yeah. Now she's changing. She's changing. She's changing from investigation to perceived. Perceived is just subjective. Okay? Yeah. Then the only thing they took from my report, they are cobra. They took the cobra gam galebi. Can we take the cobra and make it the snake as a symbol with the Anti-Corruption Commission? And I would say, yes, that is why you have the Cobra now at the Bible Mojud for Anti-Corruption Commission now on the logo.
It's very poisonous.
Yeah, that was my report that they took, and the name that I gave them, they went and put it on anti-corruption, and that's the only thing they took. There was no investigation. There was nothing. Hajadamat. Okay. So now what you need to do, you need to bring up an investigation, anti-corruption commission that is strong, that is independent, like almost the judiciary, to be able to tackle the problems in our country. Before I finish, if you have any question, please ask so that I could leave others to talk to.
No, Emmanuel, I don't have any question. I just want to remind our people, please. Contrast between things that happening in US or happening in South America or in Asia. ما بيعني جنوب السودان خلاص يعني مثلا في مستوى بتاع الدولة ده. لكن the question we need to ask ourselves. Why we fought the North? هربنا ليه؟ احنا مش هربنا عشان يكون في justice liberty prosperity. So when we make those contrasts لما الناس بيعمل حاجات بطال ونعمل contrast, it shouldn't be a problem for anyone decent. It shouldn't be a problem. لأن أنا شايف نازل وكده أنا عملت case بتاع you know حصل في United States. People say, oh, America, you know America how many years? Yes, we know America how many years. But صح حتى الزول يا أخي يا دوب بندو 10 years old or 30 years old, 20 years old ما بيعرف الصح وين والغلط وين. You don't have to be 200 years old and then you can know the truth and you can know what is right and what is wrong. Yesterday you fought actually for justice and liberty and prosperity, and you should embrace it. The core values بتاعك اللي انت كنت حاربت من اجله. So thank you brother, you know, Emmanuel, for coming on and adding your perspective as well. Please stick around. وانت اي حاجه ثانيه تقدر تجيب بعد شويه.
Thank you.
We will bring you. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Jongkor.
No problem. So let me go ahead here and see who else requested. Jama, send in your request. Send in your request. Lana, usually we do 4 hours. 2 hours قبل انتهى و 2 hours دي لما ننتهي بعدين هنا, you know, we will call it off. So good, I give you chance قبل. Let me خلينا ندي زول تاني. I saw George Osman here requested. Let me bring George Osman. George, I'm calling you right now. Go ahead and answer. And you send a request, Lily, and then you disappear. I don't know what's going on in my system. You know? Lily Morbe. It looked like something wrong with the. Okay, I see that. George.
Hello.
Hello. Yes.
Hi, كيف الأحوال يا جونكور؟
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Good to see you. So go ahead. Really very brief in it, and Finas, there you really quick. Go ahead.
أنا طبعا بتكلم بالذات في البيت ولا المرأة اللي تتكلم من أستراليا وبيحاول يعمل مقارنة بتاعه بمشكلة أنه حكيم يتكلم أنه حكيم ما مسؤول هنا الحزب ما يعني هو كان ليدر، هو المفروض يتكلم بمسؤولية هنا. أنا مشكلتنا احنا كلنا جنوبيين، فهمتني؟
Yes.
احنا كلنا جنوبيين وفي نفس الوقت يعني الكالتشر بتاعنا بيختلف من قبيله لقبيله. I have to tell you the truth. يعني حكيم كان كنت بصوره واضحه لكنه خدت بصوره سياسيه وصوره يعني مؤدبه للغايه، فهمتني؟ انا لما يعني المشكله بتاعنا لما تحصل زول وزير من منطقه ولا رئيس من منطقه ولا نائب رئيس من منطقه، فكل الناس المنطقه دي خلاص بيقول انه زول من المنطقه بتاعنا خلاص نمشي جوا كله، نمشي جوا كله في بيت الزول ده، فبيدافع الزول ده بعدين بيمشي يعمل شنو؟ يسرق قروش من الحكومه عشان ياكل بو الناس. فهنا الكالتشر ده طبعا يعني كلام بنشوف انه جبريل الحكيم بيقول انه كل الناس يعني بالتالي تتعامل ب3 ولايات ولا 10 ولايات. سبب ليش؟ لانه يعني انا مثلا من ايسترن بانك من توريد، فهمتني؟
Yes.
لما لاغو كان من جوزيف لاغو كان من ايسترن بانك. اوكي. لما كان رئيس مجلس تنفيذي انت ما بتلقى باصات ولا في توريد قالنا ماشيين جوبا، ماشيين وين؟ ماشيين بيت جوزيف لاغو لانه من شرق السوية. اوكي. بعدين تشوف داخل الهوسو بس يبنوا بيوت وبابنوا بيوت زياده خلاص، بعدين بيدافعوا ويمشي يسرق عشان ياكلوا. كان لاغو كان ما كده. نفس الحاجه جيمس استنبول لما جاء نفس الحاجه. ففي حاجات يعني هنا قاعدين ننظر، لكن حكيم قاعد يقول كلام جبال حقيقه. في تقاليد في المنطقه استوائيه كل ناس ما بنظر للوزير مثلا من منطقه شرق استوائيه خلاص هو وزير قبيله لوتوغو كله، وزير قبيله تبوسا كله. We don't have that. So our main problem now either this way or that way. لسه مشكله بيجي تاني بعدين يا جونكور. ليه؟ لانه زي ما انا ذكرت بدري جبل الكالتشر براو يعني في ناس يعني في حاجه متميز خالص في استوائين كله. يعني الاستوائين مثلا جاء وزير من منطقه معين نازل ما ناس منطقه كله بمشي جوبا بانوا كلنا. جاب مشاكل كله لانه جاب مشاكل تاع لوتينج تاع سرقات تاع قروش وكراهيات قبليه كله، لانه الناس ما they are not addressing the issue بطريقه صح. فكلام جبال حكيم قاعد يقول لي he was addressing the issue بطريقه صح. حتى لما جابوا قصه اقول لك بحاجه، لما جابوا قصه مبروك مايكل وحاجات دي، انا كنت حاضر، انا كنت هناك لما مبروك قال كلام ده في جوبا. ده كنا في الوسطى زمان ده هنا في ميدل سكول. فالمشكله الرئيسيه هسه قاعدين ننظروا. let's not deny the fact that بانه كله جنوبيين. but also let's not deny the fact that بانه في عوامل بتاع الكالتشر هو السبب بس المشكله اكبر بينهم.
You're right, George. You're right, George. طبعا history we cannot deny the history, and we cannot say that bad thing did not happen back then, whether in 70s or 80s. We cannot deny that. But what we are saying, what I'm saying particularly, I'm saying that what can we do to move forward as a young generation? Do we need to remind ourselves saying that, oh, we want to do this because now we are suspecting these guys, they are going to do this? Well, we want to embrace the spirit of unity and working together. Hello, are you there?
I'm listening to you, yes.
Yeah. So that's the area that, you know, we defer, you know, the area that we defer. Now, point a finger, for instance, Lotuka, why in Lotuka, مثلا, is مثلا هو مسؤول وقال كلام مثلا, for instance. أنا نجي نقول Lotuka كله كابين. I disagree with that. Let us be frank. I disagree with that. لو في زول uncle بتاعي مثلا عمل حاجة بطال. It should not be all my clans, you know, they should not be criminalized. You know, مثلا clan بتاعي كله they are criminals. You know, it would be that person who committed that crime actually. That's the area that بيكون عندنا disagreement here. لأن في زول أصلا بيكون in your side، لكن أنت ظالمه، أنت بيكون ظلمته. You see my point?
جونكور، أنا فاهم كلامك ده كله، لكن كلامي ما قاعد ينتهي. لو ما حكموا ناس، لو ناس ما يعني ما دام accountability للحاجات اللي هم عملوا. جماعة إيمانويل جنجويد بيقول إنه لما باسنجو جا بناس بالتقارير بتاعه، فقال لازم يتم محاكم عشان يحكم الناس اللي عملوا. فحاجات دي لو ما عملوا بالطريقه دي فدي thing can be continued. يعني ما قصه انه قصه ما هسه قبل كان عمل يا سالفه كده كمان جا عمل هسه. يعني what is the guarantee انه يعني ما في ضمان للكلام ده. عشان كده الناس متشككين، يعني they in doubt and what is going to happen tomorrow. Even that they don't think that they will go there despite that the agreement they sign it. في ناس لسه، لأن في ناس شافوا، في ناس البطالين دول لسه لاقين في شوارع تجوبة هناك. So in this case we want to mobilize ourselves to go forward to build up the country. لأنه بيجا فداحة في العالم كله. الناس عارفين أن إحنا ما مسؤولين، يعني they look at us as a Southern Sudanese are useless people. فهنا المشكلة، أنا فاهم كلامك ده، المشكلة الرئيسية النازل الأحداث ما حكموا أي زول. And they're going to showing on the street and they're going to do the same thing. يعني في ضمان.
That's right.
في ضمان سني يا جونكور. أنا يعني أبين يعني كلام جبال حكيم قاعد يقول له وما قاعد يقول بأنه قال له انصر ولا لا. هو بيشوف أنه يمكن ده وسيلة بكون أحسن. لكن كده جبال أنا جبت لك موضوع cultural problem there. We have a different way of how we look, how the government, how we perceive the government, how we look at يعني هنا كل القبائل بننظر للحكومه بطريقه بيقول ان الحكومه دي مثلا كان زول يجي من المنطقه دي خلاص هو وزير لازم احنا هو يقعد هناك لمده حياته وهو يدينا قروش من هناك خلاص ده حاجتنا. In which these are the things that انا كان عملت comparison، انا عملت لك comparison انه في 3 رؤساء مجلس تنفيذ في الجنوب اللي هو ابويا اللي هو جوزيف لاك وجيمس تمبرا وجسمال عبد الله رصاص. they don't do this kind of things لما كان في الحكومه. ما في زول بيكون مليان في بيتهم هناك جايين من مثلا جسمال عبد الله رصاص ومن قبيله سليمان دندرة اللي هو بونغو. ما في ناس جايه من تونج ومن
Tony, yes, because Bongo they are from Tony. You're right. Go ahead. So it looked like my brother George there have some difficulties with the network. Anyhow, he finished his point. Let me move on here and see other people. Yeah, Jama, I don't know how to explain this to people, you know. Listen, if someone disagree with my relative, with someone from my family, that's fine. I don't have any problem with that. But You need Ana Gutalam Gisa is Wolfat. I think I said it very clear. I give you the example of Malcolm X. I give you example of Martin Luther King. I give you example of J.C. Jackson. And then finish with what? With Gizab Barack Obama. That actually, if you want to win, because J.C. Jackson, he wanted to run the president of the United States in the 80s. He tried multiple times. He was not able. The reason he was not able is not because he cannot get, you know, enough vote in his community, but who assassin he wanted to be president of the United States. Like, if you want to be president of the United States, you have to be in the middle. You have to be in the middle. You cannot say, oh, you cannot be too black or too white or too Hispanic. You got to be somewhere there, you know. Interland to build sense of unity. To zul zol ta weda. Lakini to lumayelta. Wallah khawaja del manafin, we don't like them. Fi khawaja not good with you actually. He want to support you. He want to support your ideas. Embrace you. But you are pushing him away. Is that a good politics? You're not going to win. Right? J.C. Jackson tried, didn't win. Malcolm X tried. He ended up being killed. But Martin Luther King brought change to the United States. That's why we have civil rights. That's why America is a fair country. Barack Obama came. No. We are just one people. We are one people. It's not wrong. Let us move to the center. Let us not just be like, oh, Nazil Kabin, Nuer Walai Kabin, Bari Walai Kabin, Lotuka Walai Kabin. Oh, and then you good. You are the only one good. No one is going to say that I am the only good South Sudanese. You should rule South Sudan. South Sudan is a collective of people. Right? So now, I never embrace Hajar al-Kir Gadiamul and government. I have been so critical about that government. But yet people are still pushing me on the edge. They are pushing me. They call me name. They said I'm a JCE. They call G10, NAS, whatever they want to call it. See now, when I'm trying to make my statement or make a point, people are saying, oh, Jongkor, because that guy disagree with your tribe or he disagree with your relative, that's why you're jumping in. I'm not jumping in. Facts are facts. We have to make accurate information. We have to come out. We have to make a common purpose. Give us together. Then we gotta live like this. Just keep shouting and talking. Oh, walaya nuer kabin denga de woman kabin. You know. They nas tabagara. Oh, Equatorial they nas koafin. You know. They lay you down always. You know. They don't fight to the end. That's the concept out there. That's the concept out there. People will think that Equatorial they are coward. Okay, Equatorial will think that Dinka, women Nazis are notorious. They are not good. Oh, Dinka will think that Nuer are not good. Actually, Nuer, they cannot wait to the end. You know, they want to do it right now. If it's not, they will give up. We need to quit all this thing. We need to quit all this thing and embrace, you know. Let us find the common ideas and bring us together. It's not a bad thing. You know, how long are we going to be defensive? Or are we going to be biased? We don't need to be biased, too biased. It's not going to help. You know? It's not going to help, my dear brothers and sisters. People don't want to take this. They see it's bad. You know, this guy, you know, I don't know. But no, Kalam Betaida, one day you will remember it. It's good for you. It's good for me. It's good for you. We need to be in the middle here. We don't want to single anyone out. I don't want to say you are bad, I am bad. Yes, bad thing happened. Bad thing happened for history of South Sudan. But yes, bad thing happened. Fi Beled Betana, Fi Sabainat, Fi Tamaninat. What can we do now to overcome all this bad thing and move on? Are we going to cry for the past? Or are we going to start building the future? That's the big question. Everybody should ask themselves. Now, if you keep crying and say, I don't want you, I don't want you, I hate you, I hate you, and then you're not going to be able to sit down with that person and reconcile. It will not happen. And if you are not reconciled, you're not going to get along. If you're not getting along, that is integration. If I am stronger, and then yeah, I will do whatever I wanted to do. But that's what we want. Anyhow, we will keep talking. I know it's very hard, you know, but we will keep doing this. So let me go ahead and call next person, and we move on. All right. Lily, I want you to send me a request, please. Lily. Where are you, Lily? Okay. I'm calling you Treza. I'm sending you a request. I don't know you're ready or you're not ready, but I'm calling you right now. And Dr. Francis, I don't know what happened to your request also. It disappeared. Teresa, I'm calling you. But if you are not ready, oh, you declined the request. So let me go ahead and see next person. That's fine. Dr. Francis, can you send me a request, please? Okay, Lily, it's right there. Okay, Lily, I'm calling you right now. No answer from the live video request. What happened, Lily? Go ahead and turn on the camera, please. Turn on the camera. I'm going to try one more time, Lily. Here we go. Hello, Lily.
Hey, how are you?
Good to see you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's been a quiet.
Yeah.
So, Fadal ya Lily.
Yeah, salam. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. You always are trying to, to bring something that we can come in the center. I'm not going to analyze what Dr. Hakim mentioned here. Some of it, they mentioned something that it could be right, but the terminology that we use really, it could be different from individual how we receive it and perceive it. So some of the things is really good, but at this time we are trying to work so hard to make sure that we make some of the corrections in order for us not to repeat the things that had happened in the past.
Correct.
So I'm just coming. I'm just coming to share my personal perspectives. I'm not going to dwell on whoever contributed or give analysis on that, because everybody is entitled to whatever they share.
Correct.
So in order for us, I'm just answering your topic about the building and the trust. How can we build a nation and how can we maintain the trust? So my personal perspective is, because we know war is expensive. War is costly. Yes. It's not easy. It's not easy for us to just build this relationship just like that. The nation, if the house broke due to some other reasons, it's difficult to rebuild. To rebuild a nation like ours, it requires time. It requires capital. It requires human resources. It requires, it is opposite to what had happened. So it takes time. Yes. In order for the country to come together, I think it requires us as the communities, as well as our leaders, to work corporately in order to bring change in the country. We hope our leaders to listen to us as citizens of South Sudan, and also us, we have to have this persuasive spirit, like pushing them that they can do it. At the same time, they have to do it in the right way. So this is our role. The communities themselves and our leaders, they have roles to work together in order to bring this change. So, and when we talk about the system, we must break the cycle of, of if we are truly to learn from the past. It's just learning. We have to use the word learning from the past. I think what had been mentioned by Dr. Hakim, it is right. Some individual, it's just how we use the term. Like, instead of say the Dinka in general, the Nuer in general, Equatorial in general, we can use the term says there are some individual, and this is true, in the system that they're polluting the whole tribe. Not everybody, but those individuals, our role as the communities, we have the right to correct them in a good way, to correct them that what Bonaman had used, what Uncle Abelaler, they were, colleague with my father, and those kind of things, I don't think we want to repeat it, so that we want to coexist as tribes, as together, even if we believe in 10 states, it doesn't mean that we hate each other. It doesn't mean that you are confined in your geographical location, that you cannot move around freely. See, those kind of mentality, we need to change this terminology about using these terms in order for us to live in peace, in order to us to live to coexist as South Sudanese. So it just depends, Brother Jongkor, how we use these terminologies, how we want to use a persuasive words that bring us together. And also before bringing us together, Brother Jongkor, we don't need to cut the tree from the top. We need to go to the root itself and pull it out and say, hey, Lily, you step on my feet, then I don't think this time I want you to continue to step on my feet. Then I have to say, okay, thank you, I'm sorry. So how can we bring a change? So those are the things that we really need to acknowledge, to identify the problem among us and come with the solutions. Right. The problem with us, when you say, Lily, your dress is green and purple, I will say, no, yellow. My dress is white. Right. See, that is the problem with us. So we are really have problem with admitting the truth. And also at the same time, it depends on how you bring these issues. When you bring this, the way of approaches, if you just say, oh, you the body, you are the hateful people, you are the people that brought Kokora and whatever, or Dinka, you people are aggressive. If the way you bring these terms, it really damages everything. So, but when you say, okay, we are all one, but how can we live together? We need to understand our values and morals and what we believe in order for us to live as tribe. So I'm talking about the coexistence. When it comes to the leadership, the way the structure of the leadership, it has to be equally, it has to be, like based on the qualifications, based on whoever fits to that position, not because of the tribal tribal line. Like we have militia, White House, we have militia in the other side too. When you assess all the tribes and even the Quatora, even some of the movement now, you see 80% is based on the leadership, which means we're still loyal to our leaders, Brother Jongkor. This is the thing that I think you are standing also against it. We should not choose because of the tribe. We should choose according to the ideology. What are you going to do to constitute the benefit that can benefit all the tribe in South Sudan? But now those are the things that we need really to work on it. And also the other point is we expect from President Kiir and Dr. Riek Machar, before the implementation of the peace itself, they need to continue with the open dialogue in order to persuade those people who disagree with them. And they owe us, as the citizen of South Sudan, the memorial services.
Lily, this is what I said on Edward's show, I don't know, 2 days ago. This is what I said. In order for trust to be built among the population of South Sudan, and if they want us to believe that this peace is going to last, is going to be genuine, we embrace peace anyhow. President Kiir, Dr. Riek, Waniga, Tabandengai, and Changchon, and others, okay, they need to tour villages of South Sudan together. They need to go to Pagak, they need to go to Corner, Fashoda, they need to go to Torit, they need to go to Buma, they need to go to Bazia, they need to go to Yambio, they need to go to Raja, they need to go to Nyamlel, they need to go to all over. And go there with a strong message together and say to the people of South Sudan, look, people are not believing on us. And we know that you don't believe on us. We caused damages. We laid you down. We did all horrible things. But now we are turning the page. We come together. Here's Yakajan, here's Waniga, here's others. Now we don't want you to fight. We want you to build that among yourself. Okay? They toured the nation and they send that positive message. And then people down in the grassroots, they are going to come together. Here we are here in diaspora. We need to have our conferences too. As a South Sudanese, not as Mahdi or Fajulu or the Dinka. We need to have those kind of things together, because whatever happened there is affected people here. That's why the communities are all disintegrated here in the West.
Yeah.
So that's what they need to do. If the leaders are really eager to bring stability in South Sudan, they need to tour the country without worrying about their, you know, they're going to be shot or something going to happen. They need to go and talk to ordinary citizens who are affected by this. Tour all the entire nation and talk to them. Give them the message. I think that's going to build something. That's my suggestion, you know. And go ahead, please.
I agree with you, brother. 100% I agree. Why? They need to go to the level of the community. They have to go to their shoes. That, like I say, it is called the transitional restorative justice, the constitutional restorative justice. You have really to make sure that you have to recognize, and you have to call a public memorial services confessing to your people that something went wrong. You know, something went wrong, and they said it. But again, it's not easy for the people of South Sudan just to believe them like that, like theoretically on the paper. It looks beautiful on the paper until before the implementation, until it's tested. It's not easy to heal the wounds. The wounds is already deep. It went even to fourth stage of the wound, brother Jongkor. So it takes effort. It takes the energy. It takes the corporate team. It's called the interdisciplinary team to work together in order to maintain that trust that has been violated by our leaders. Now let's come to us who are in diaspora. Do you know the words that we use, the way that we talk to each other? It affects the way our people back home perceive things.
Correct.
We need to change the words. We need to change how we can resolve our issues without being offensive, without taking it personal. We need to differentiate between when we talk about politics, when we talk about the family issues, and we want to talk about our nations. So we need to educate ourselves further. We need to recognize that we have anonymous, we have mistrust, we have tribalism existing in our communities. At the same time, we need to come with the conflict resolution. How can we resolve this problem? But we cannot just brush it off like you. I agree with you. That's why even if I'm so busy, I would like to come in your show because you like transparency. See, like now you're allowing different views. This leadership, you allow different views, bad or good. It is views. Leaders, you bring people on the table. What is your problem? What is your problem? You have 6 children. They have different tastes. They have different ingredients. So how can we agree on the common goal? Our common goal, we need peace. But what kind of peace? Does it just benefit us? Does it constitute the benefit of all South Sudanese? So we have to continue with this open dialogue, you know, to make sure that everybody on the table, because those leaders, Jongkor, they fought for this country, including our president and the vice and whoever, all in the system. They struggle for this country. At the same time, those who oppose also, they have a reason why they oppose. There is nothing in this world that the country will become one. There are some opposition, and the reason why they oppose, you have to come with the resolutions. Now, we in diaspora, we need to change the terminology. We need to change the language. We need to go to our communities. We need to go to our families that we are not going to repeat what Uncle, I call him Uncle, you know, Abelaler or Doso Lagu or whatever that has been manipulated by the Mundukuru. We need to work so hard to make sure that we don't follow those things that had happened and brought these things like Kokora or division. Those are the things, when you go to history, those are the things brought by divide and rule by the colonial time and by the Anglo. So we have history in our life. We don't want to repeat it. We want to come with a new ideology that we are one. But how can we coexist? We have to correct it. How? Not by violence, not by the insult, not by taking it personally, but we come with something constructive that generalizes all of us. So this is the thing that we in here in diaspora, we have a role to destroy our country. See, the other thing also, we need to repair, and also we need something like we need to a recurring conflict. The recurring conflict in our country, it also drains our wealth. So the wealth that it took a different channel. Those wells can help our people, to come back to home, but now we don't have it. We need like $1.5 billion in order for the refugees to come home. Where will you get this money? We are relying on international aid. Why we are relying on the international aid? Because we are so wealthy, but we don't know where it goes to different channels. So those are the things that we will try to encourage our leaders, that this thing, it should not repeat itself. And the young people like you, I don't think we are going to repeat this thing. So our shows, when we come to the media, let's work so hard to correct the things that had already occurred. But we cannot continue to condemn ourselves. We cannot continue to dig those wounds that, like, we are covering the wounds, but inside there is not healed yet.
Thank you, Sister Lily Morobe. I'm gonna move on here because there's a lot of people are requested. You spoke really good.
Yeah.
I like your contribution. Please stick around. Let me move ahead here and call other person. Thank you so much, Lily.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, let me go ahead and see. Jamal, send in your request. Send in your request. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and bring you Dr. Francis. I saw your request also, Brother Jatap and Francis.
Oh, Jongkor.
What kind of light is that? It looked like you put something in your face.
No, it's just only because the sun.
Yeah.
Yeah, good afternoon. Yeah, it was just the window which was open actually.
Okay.
So yes, good afternoon and good afternoon. And sorry, somebody just called me. And thank you for bringing Dr. Hakim to come and talk about how he looked into the problem of South Sudan and how it should be addressed actually. But so all of us, we know that South Sudan is a new country, and therefore even the practice within the political party is not so mature to the extent that we can compare to the extent that the Democratic Party, the Republican Party. But we are trying to perfect ourselves in such a way that we could be able to achieve those developed nations. So I'm one of the people who believe that
you know what, Dr. Francis, Malaysia, I'm not cutting you off. If we keep saying that we are young, we are small, we are this, we're not going to grow.
No, it's something that you need to acknowledge, Jongkor. Why? It is not yet to make it an excuse. If you are making it an excuse, that is where it will hinder. But when you acknowledge where you stand actually, and then you know where are you going, you would be able actually to move and put the energy that you need so that you can push yourself toward the objective that you want to achieve.
Makir,
but if you don't know
your request, brother. Makir, send in your request. Yeah, go ahead.
So knowing where you are exactly, and then you can start moving forward toward achieving your objective is very important. But those people who make the being young as an excuse for them not going to progress, these are the people actually we don't like them. So basically what I want to say is what, because all of those political party, most of the leaders, when you see them actually, they come through the ladders of the leadership, and most of the time they learn through this process. But for all our political party, they are new actually, and therefore the process of having a very well studied positions is still not there actually, and therefore I'm asking all the viewers actually, they should acknowledge that one, because we are still in the process of learning how to run a political party, how to approach the problem also. And therefore, most of the people, they don't have a well-constructed and studied positions. And all this, if you ask those political party about, if you tell them actually what is your position about the governing, the system of governing in South Sudan, some of you will tell you regional, but they don't have a written positions that can, is critically evaluated by many of the people, and therefore they come with a well-constructive an objective way of handling that problem. That one we don't have. Is all these people actually, they are just talking. So I was saying that I'm most of the people who believe that The current two principal actually they are corrupt here. They don't have a capacity to bring the change that all of us we want. They don't have the capacity to bring the unity that we have. So how can we solve these things? The other problem that we are having is because these people, they will not distinguish. They will never give up. They will be clinging in these positions. So if we've been trying to cry and say that these people, they have going to step down through the negotiation, they would never accept that. And therefore, the position that Dr. Hakim is putting forward, that we should negotiate with the government so that they can step down, that one will never happen until the end of the world. So we need to be more realistic than we become very idealistic, because this thing, it will not work. For them, they need to cling in the power, and you want to take them out from the power. And therefore, there should be something in the middle, which is the peace agreement. And for them, they reject it. So this is one thing. The other thing also, we need political party that have a different versions of those political party. So because what we need, the new political party should address the problem and overcome the problem that we have in those old political party, in terms of division, in terms of lack of democracy, in terms of accountability, lack of accountability. So when you come and create a new political party, you should address this thing within your political party so that actually we have change. But if we are copying the same principle, the same division, the divisive language, actually we have not done anything, because you are bringing the same, you are copying the same old scenario and you are bringing it. And this is the problem. The other thing also that we need here is that we need to be people, they become very sensitive. So what is the problem if you, Jongkor, with your follow from the same position, you take a photo together? I don't think that is a problem, actually, and that one could not be a problem. And even if the Equatorian, they took a photo together, that would not be a problem if they are a leader to happen be a leader. So we need not to be so sensitive. And this is a problem. We need to look into the things. Imagine photo is becoming a problem. And then the other thing also, we should not cite and say that is not being documented. When you ask him about the we are born to rule, so Abilier didn't say it. So it's somebody who told him when he was in school, and that person actually is not representing it, is that his own vision. So this one should not come and generalize, and this such kind of thing actually is divisive. So we there is nothing called that we are born to rule. I think we need a democratic country where everybody is free to run, whether you are from Equatoria or whether you are from Upper Nile or whether from any tribe. Even if you are only in your tribe, you were two, you have the right to come and run, and people will vote to you based on your program, but it's not based on your tribe. And people should not be judged because I'm belong to certain community. So the culture that the corruption is just belong to Baragazal is unacceptable, actually. We know all the corruption. Everybody is corrupt. The human being is corrupt. The system, when it is corrupt, you will get a lot of people from different background. But if we are just saying that the corruption is just only in Baragazal, that is wrong. Are you corrupt? You are from Baragazal, Jongkor. Are you corrupt? You are not corrupt, definitely. So the generalization is a big problem. We need to make sure that whoever is corrupt is an individual. Look at Kenya. Kenya, there is a corruption. Is it because there are many people in the house of that particular minister? It's not. It is because the system who embrace corruption, and therefore this system must be corrected. It's not because many people that are in the house. So when we don't know what is really the real cause of the corruptions, and we go and say, okay, well, let us divide the people into 3 regions so that all these guys, they will stay in their own area, Baragazal, they will not come and their system will not correct. This will not correct the system. So we need to critically evaluate that system, understand what is went wrong, and therefore we address the problem where we have to put the anti-corruption like the way that Emmanuel was talking about it. If there is a strong anti-corruption, there is strong judiciary, there is strong police, there is strong prosecutions. Do you think that anybody who will make corruption will go there and then it will be indicted? And therefore, this is how the corruption will end. It's not because dividing people into the 3 regions. Dr. Hakim also talked about the federalism. And when you talk about the federalism, I thought that you will be more progressive. So because the federalism is a very progressive system of governance. But the problem at the same time, you need to come and talk of federalism, that you want the federalism like in the US, and at the same time, you want to talk also about the region, the 3 regions. So the 3 regions doesn't go together, because the region, when it was divided, we want all the Equatorial to stay in their own region, then the Barghazal in their own region, and the Upper Nile their own region. And this one is contradicting the federalism principle. Okay, so if you are talking about the federalism, you need to drop the issue of the regionalism. You need to drop it completely, because the 2 things, they don't go together. The other thing also is the issue of rotational presidents. When you talk about the democracy, it gives everybody the right. If the people come and elect white guy since 1776 up to 2008 when Obama came, is it a problem? That is democracy. So why do we want to make a rotational, since we have a democratic system? Democratic system is very fair to everybody, even if you are 2 only in your own tribe, and you have the leadership that the people need, and you have the right project. People should vote for you, and you become the president of the whole majority. There is no problem. So why are we mixing things here, rotational, and we need federalism? So these things need to be distinguished, actually, because the democratic system is very fair to everybody, even if you are an individual person. Look at the US, the Congress right now. The Somalian lady who became the first migrant.
The first refugee.
The first refugees.
Do you think
that do you think that there are many Somalians in that constituents?
No.
In district? No. How come she managed to go? It's just only because she's a liberal. She talk about everybody interests, and that's why she come to the Congress. So why not in South Sudan? This is what we need, so that the people come based on their project. It's not because based on their tribe.
Majority of U.S. Congress, by the way, they become majority of women. First time in the history.
So exactly that we need. The other thing also, most of the people, they want to join the government. Everybody want to join the government, and this one, it will not work, because if you go to the healthy democracy, it need a very strong oppositions. Okay, so you need strong opposition. We need some political party to stay out. But what we need, they need to be peaceful. They have their opposition to be peaceful. It's not through the gun, through the fighting. And therefore, for those who do not sign the agreements, they are welcome to South Sudan, express their view, and then watch those guys what they are doing, and try because actually when you are sit outside there, you will be in a position to observe well, and therefore you can be able to put a very constructive program that will meet all the need of all the people, and therefore next time you will become for election, and the people will vote for you because you have the right projection. The Republican Party, they took all the 2 houses, and they were in power. And the Democratic Party, actually, they were watching, and therefore they observed this thing. They came with a very constructive program, which actually admire majority of the US, and that's why they took the Congress. And this is the healthy democracy that we need. So it's not everybody have to be in the government. I think also, one final thing. I think people talk about the hybrid court. The hybrid court is embodied in the peace agreements. And therefore, if you don't want peace, the agreements, I don't think that there is no way that you could be able to say, actually, you need the hybrid court. You see? And therefore, when Emmanuel say that the justice denied is a justice delayed is a justice denied. So when you reject the agreement, that means actually you don't want the hybrid court, because the hybrid court is embodied within the agreement. So you are the one right now delaying the justice, and therefore you should hold responsible for delaying the justice, because you did not accept the agreement. Because this through agreement, the hybrid court will be formed, and everybody who committed a crime will be indicted.
All right, Emmanuel, Dr. Francis, thank you so much for your contribution. It was good having you to add your views as well. So let's end it there. Jamaa, viewers of concerned citizen of South Sudan. My car broke, and I have a teacher conference for my son. I have to go and attend the teacher conference. My wife is waiting for me. I have to buy another car because that car is gone. So thank you so much for watching today. نلتقيكم إن شاء الله الأسبوع الجاي. I wish I would have continued more and more, but because it cut off a little earlier, 3 hours. Now we did another almost 2 hours, so we're almost 5 hours. So إلى هنا نصل وياكم إلى ختامه. نلتقيكم إن شاء الله الأسبوع الجاي مع موضوع جديد مع ضيف جديد. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Support ya, inshallah.